Colorado is really attractive as far as a destination for people to view the color change. I think also to add to that attractiveness is the presence of rocks in the Rocky Mountains. The height of the rocks and the vastness of the rocks too, it just really is quite spectacular.
Way down in the southern hemisphere, far below the equator, you can lose your worries.
When we enter into fall, just enjoy the whole fall process because every day is going to be a change.
Sure to know the ones with bright are kings out in the street tonight. And you may say these blues are not mine, but I bet you might think twice.
I'm Jackie Sanderson with Douglas County Open Space and Natural Resources, and I'm a natural resource specialist. I'm going to take you for a color tour of Douglas County.
I don't need no money, no shoes on my feet, 'cause there's carnival tonight out in the street.
We're going to take a little color tour today, and we're going to start out at my place about a mile outside of Sedalia, and then we'll be heading up to the mountains in just a little while. It's hard to get the exact science of when colors are going to change. You can pretty much predict that when we enter into fall, our days are shorter than our nights, then fall usually will come right along that time. It's hard to tell how long the trees and plants are going to hold their leaves because you might get a snowfall, you might get a big wind. I was always drawn to the outdoors and had a real interest in insects and wildlife, and then that led to just being out in nature. She just loves attention. Any way she can get it. So we have Berta and Stjerna, and we also have Ingrid and Oscar. And JR, when I got him, the registration papers said his name was Dr. Justin Rose. He has a PhD. I think he's really, really smart. He's a good horse. Do you want to go for a ride? Go up to the mountains? Okay, let's go. Come on. Good girl. Okay, now we'll get JR in. Okay, watch out, Ingrid.
Free falling and I'm doing okay. I've got my mind.
Okay, over, JR.
I seem so
There he goes.
far away. Can't you realize? Be free falling all day.
Nelson Open Space is several hundred acres behind the Hogback, and it has a series of wonderful trails. You take Sharptail Trail to get here, and then once you're here, there are two loops that go together right next to each other. Right now we're at the Sharptail Ridge Trailhead, elevation 5,800 feet. Altogether it's about an 11-mile round trip, so it's real popular with horseback riders. This is an old saddle. I got it in Hawaii. The area back here to ride or hike is quite varied. All of it's kind of a moderate trail, but you'll come across rocky areas. You'll have wonderful views wherever you go on the trail. Some of the plants that we're seeing today are, of course, the gamble oak, and especially in the Hogback, where we're riding this afternoon. Gamble oak is probably the most prevalent plant. It's usually known for its pretty brown leaves, but today we're finding a lot of golds, greens, and some oranges and a little bit reddish tint to the leaves. The oak trees are native to this area. In the springtime, they have about 3 chances each time it freezes to come back with leaves. And so if you lose the leaves the first time around after a frost, they'll have a chance to come back again. This is like a little enchanted oak forest here. The oaks are actually coming across the trail. And a lot of these oaks right here haven't lost all of their green color. The things I like about nature is that I can always learn. Every time I go outside, I experience something different. After a whole summer of growth, these leaves start changing a little bit, especially when the days start getting shorter. And when those days get shorter, there's less sunlight for the leaves, and therefore it's a kind of a little trigger. The leaves will start forming a little cell growth between the petiole or the stem of the leaf and the actual stem. Those cells will shut down the flow of fluids to and from the leaf, and that's also happening when the chlorophyll is stopping being produced. And the chlorophyll is the green food maker that's in the leaf. Then what happens is the green goes away, and then the other pigments that are in the leaf start showing themselves.
The rain won't stop somewhere north of home. These arguments have begun to drag me down. Oh, I will think of you when I hear my favorite song. Pain won't drop.
These are the smooth sumac, and it's kind of a low-growing shrub, and they have a lot of sugars built up in them, so they have just a lot of brilliant red in the plants. Right, Berta? I don't think you'd want to eat it. My favorite plant that I've seen today, I guess it would be the Gamble oak, because I've seen so many of them, but every time I get to the next plant, then that becomes my favorite. The clematis, which has already gone to seed, and this is what's given us the real fluffy seeds that we're looking at. And if we look at them closely, the seeds each have fuzzy mechanisms to help them take off in the wind and distribute those seeds. Devil's Head is about 19 miles from Sedalia. That area is in the Pike National Forest, and it's a wonderful, about a mile hike up and then a mile hike back. But it's a little steep in places, but the rewards for that trail are wonderful because there are a lot of rocks, beautiful aspen groves in there. Look at this on the trail. All the aspen leaves have fallen. It's just a carpet of gold. The aspen trees are related to each other, and each aspen tree is going to have a certain shape of leaf, and this is kind of an odd shape for an aspen leaf, but all of the other trees that are related to this tree will have leaves about this shape. These aspens are so tall because they put all their energy towards making new branches and growing leaves at the top, and when you get a thick forest like this, they're going to drop all their lower branches, and you can see the little scars going up the aspen tree where the old branches used to be. But the top of the tree is where you see the living branches and the new leaves, and that's where all the energy for the tree is going to go, up at the top where they can get that sunlight to make chlorophyll and make the sugars. So each fall you're going to get a little bit different color change. And with each species of plant you're going to get a little bit different color change too. There are a lot of different factors that go into this color change, but probably the biggest factor is the changing of the length of the day. Oh, look at these granite walls here on both sides. This is the climb up to the fire tower, and it's a pretty steep climb, and if you're afraid of heights, it might not be the climb for you. The real treat when you get to the top is the Devil's Head Fire Lookout, and that fire lookout has been in existence for many decades. It's just a fabulous place to go and get a 360-degree view around Douglas County and beyond. You'll be able to see Castle Rock, the city of Denver, and if you look farther to the north, you can see Long's Peak, and if you start looking a little more to the northwest, you can see the Mount Evans area, and you're getting everything from the plains to the foothills to the mountains, all from that view at Devil's Head. When the leaves go ahead and fall in the autumn, what happens is these trees aren't able to support these broadleaf leaves anymore because they're just not set up for wintertime. They're not thick, they're quite thin. So instead of taking energy out of the plant to try to have them protect these leaves during the wintertime, the tree tends to shut down and it'll go ahead and drop those leaves. And then when it drops the leaves, these leaves go into the ground, and on the ground they might become insulation for young plants that are just germinating underneath. They're also little humus for the soil, so these will start recycling the nutrients and add to the topsoil that's in the ground. And this will become food for future plants that are on this site. Also, there are little insects that might burrow underneath. You might get salamanders that go underneath a lot of leaf cover. This is wild plum. Wild plum's a native shrub that's in here. Plums have branches that look pretty thick and they're gray, and if you go in to touch them, it's almost like thorns. Here we have the limber pine, and actually a cone that's on it right now. The cone is a little bit longer, it's a lot more sturdy than the Douglas fir cone, but the needles are sharp, they're longer than the Douglas fir, they're not flat like the Douglas fir. Being a deciduous leaf, you're doomed usually at the end of the year, and you'll just become a part of the nutrient recycling in the ground here. I love so many things about nature. You know, it's the sounds, also noticing patterns in different things, whether it's leaves or colors on different animals or trees. You know, I think it touches all of your senses. I just find the outdoors really fascinating.